Well, welcome to today's reading, which I'm sure is going to be relevant for lots and lots of people. Let's start off with a thought for the day. It's by Sonia Friedman, who says, "Don't make a wish, make a life. Don't make a wish, make a life." How about that? Yeah, today's reading, the title is Resolving Religious Fears, and I know from talking to people, from hearing things, seeing things on different media, that this is a big deal for a lot of people. But I gotta say, it's not a big deal for me. I mean, it really isn't a big deal for me. Not for me personally. It's a big deal in the sense that it's a big deal for other people. But personally, I really don't have any issues. I joke about the nuns and the priests who taught me from being 4 years of age until I left school. I joke about them being overly strict. But when I look back on it, I don't have any regrets at school. Were they strict? Yeah, of course they were very strict. But all in all, I think it benefited me. So I really have got nothing bad to say about my experience within the Catholic Church, probably because of the way I processed it. You know, I grew up Catholic. I went through the Catholic diaconate program in Atlanta. And when I moved to Houston, it meant I couldn't finish the final bit of the diaconate program, which was simply homiletics. I didn't get a chance to do that, but the rest I did. And it was taught in a different way. We were taught to look at the Bible in a different way, but there's a lot more liberal way. So personally, I really don't have any hang-ups about my Catholic upbringing. Was my mother strict? Yeah. I joke about the fact that she was more Catholic than the Pope, and also the fact that she truly believed that if you weren't feeling guilty, you should feel guilty because obviously you'd done something that you should feel guilty about. So did she teach guilt? Yeah. But thanks to my wife, I got over it. So honestly, I don't have any hang-ups about my religion. The hang-ups I do have about religion, well, not hang-ups. The problems I've got with some religions are the extremists on any end. And I don't care whether they're Catholics, Protestants, Muslims, Jews, Hindus. I wish that those people could look at life differently and release a lot of their extreme views. So that's my 10 cents on this. But this is Kelly Robbins' deal. So here we go. If I can pull it back up again, which of course I can, it's right here. And as I said, she's called it Resolving Religious Fears. And the first quote, ironically, is from Unknown. And it says, replace fear of the unknown with curiosity by Unknown. So replace fear of the unknown with curiosity. And I think that's actually a good starting point. In other words, whether that applies to religion or politics, it really doesn't matter. You don't have to agree with other people's viewpoints, but you can get along better if you ask them to explain their positions. And if you can both explain your positions in a reasonable manner, you may never agree, but also you'll never have big fights about it either. And this is Ernest Holmes, who says in Living Without Fear, he says, religion has ever been an answer to the cry of the soul for something that is real, something that may be relied upon, a resting place for which every person instinctively feels a need. And that was on page 68 of Living Without Fear. And I brought up Catholic faith because Reverend Kelly Robbins brings it up. She said, religion is a topic that can quickly bring up strong emotions. Absolutely. My family was split between Catholic and Protestant, and I was in the middle, and there the twain shall meet. She says, I was born into a Catholic family, and like many of us, had reasons for not continuing in that faith tradition. Today, she says, I'm a religious science minister serving as a chaplain at a Catholic hospital a few days a month. It's ironic, right? I can't express how much healing I experience working at this faith-based hospital. Being a chaplain is an interfaith role, and most people assume that my faith is their faith. Our biases quickly bring up judgment, fear, or feelings of inadequacy. I encourage you to take time today to reflect on your beliefs about religion. Notice any fears or prejudices, and approach what you find with kindness. This is not about justifying your beliefs or your decisions. Well, what is it about? It's about seeing where you have an opportunity for healing. I would say yourself and others. You don't need to have experienced religious trauma to feel fear around religion. Some of us grew up in traditions where we were taught that sin leads to hell, to fear God, and that there is only one right way to connect with God, a way that often thought more about separation than unity. I have never, ever believed, even as a kid, that there was only one way to the divine. And of course, I've changed the way I look at that now, but I never ever believed it. Half my relatives were Protestants and half were Catholics, and I didn't believe that the Protestant side were going to go to hell. I didn't believe that anybody anywhere in the world was going to go to hell simply because they were who they were by not any choice of theirs, just by their circumstances. I've never ever believed that. Look closely at your fears about God, about religion, and about spirituality, and ask yourself, what is the deeper truth behind these fears? So if you do have fears about God, religion, spirituality, yep, examine, where's the fear coming from? If you don't like the word God, where's it coming from? It's probably coming from your past, your childhood, even adulthood. Because in a faith that believes in the allness of life, God takes on a completely different meaning. It does not mean some person who sits on a throne up in the clouds who's judging you, good or ill. She says, well, as a religious science minister in a tradition known for its thorough prayers, we pray a lot. I say a prayer each day over the intercom to an entire Catholic hospital in less than 30 seconds. And I am consistently complimented. And that's pretty good, actually. So as I said, I don't have any hang-ups about this. But if you do, I fully understand it. And if you suffered trauma because of this, I understand it. Lots and lots of horrible things have been done in the name of religion. And let's face it, religion and spirituality are not the same thing. Religion is about following a set of rules and agreeing to a set of doctrines. Spirituality is about seeking to understand the greater mystery of life. So that's my definition. The affirmation, it's actually two and they're pretty long. I'm open to see, heal, and release any and all religious fear, preconceptions, and judgments. I am open to see, heal, and release any and all religious fear, preconceptions, and judgments. And that can be about yourself or others. I know myself and others as perfectly whole and complete, exactly as we are today. I know myself and others as perfectly whole and complete, exactly as we are today. So that's my reading for today, folks. Two things tomorrow. Reverend Lisa, for sure, around about 9:15. Danielle Johnson, as she said herself on Sunday, it's iffy whether she actually does her midweek meditation at midday on Wednesday. It's whenever she can, because she works full-time, she works more than full-time, and she has 2 kids. So and she's a single mother. So it's not easy. I will be back tomorrow, 5 p.m.-ish, inshallah, in the real meaning of the word, God willing. And God willing, I am knowing for each and every one here a wonderful rest of the day. So until next time, my friends,